Welcome to Talkin Trash. Sandy Gunderson here, and I have Steve Skoog, the Land Use Director, with us, and we're going to talk trash today, or the history of trash. So, Steve, when did garbage start in Becker County?
Well, you know that garbage has been around for a long time. But you know, really, it all started to really galvanize, and the consideration for solid waste management really took on a county and state perspective probably early in the early 1970s. Prior to that, there was a lot of local dumps, if you want to call them that, where people would dispose of their waste. They would go there, they'd burn it and bury it, and there really wasn't a lot of consideration on how we handled trash, and so it became more of a concern from an ecological standpoint, where people were starting to getting worried about the impact in the local environment. And so in the 1970s, early 1970s, probably late 60s even, the state really started taking on that role. And so in 1972, Becker County was issued a permit to build a solid waste management dump here, landfill, with the idea that they were going to start closing down a lot of the local dumps that were scattered throughout the county and in the cities. And so by 1975, the rural dumps were basically getting closed. The county had built a new landfill with the idea that if we brought it to one place, we could build a better landfill that had a liner in it, and therefore it would be easier to manage it going into the future. With that, also in 1980, the state was really taking on a lot more emphasis on solid waste, and they passed what's called the solid waste management tax. And what that did is allowed the counties, or banned certain things from the waste stream, and it also allowed for the collection of a solid waste management tax, which could be used to help fund solid waste activities. And so at that time, when they started to aggregate all of the waste into regional landfills, they also started to look at what was in that waste stream, and they banned certain items from that waste stream, basically tires, automobile hulks, appliances. They started looking at hazardous waste, pulling out oils and those kind of things. So also then by 1985, the counties realized that they had to have some money coming in to help fund some of this, and they created a funding stream, a grant funding stream called the SCORE Committee, which stands for Select Committee on Environment and the Resource. No,
I think it's recycling and the environment. Yeah, we always have to collaborate.
And so a portion of the solid waste management tax, which the state collects, is reimbursed to the counties in the form of an annual SCORE payment to the county, which is in Becker County. It's about $100,000 a year now, which we use to help support recycling activities and some of these other things that it's hard to pass on that cost to the consumer. What we use our funding for is we pay part of this back out to the townships and the cities to help them fund the rural recycling programs that we have. In 1987, the county established a recycling program with the townships and cities by using sheds where the local residents could come and place their recyclable commodities in there. Then we arranged for the collection of those commodities so they could get collected and sold and disposed of, or sent out to be recycled. In 1988 then, we started having problems with our own landfill, and one of the problems we had is that stuff was leaching through the waste stream and is going down into the water table, and the decision was made to close our landfill. At that point, the county then decided that they were going to ship all our garbage out of the state, and we created a solid waste transfer station on our current landfill site. Once that was constructed, then the county began sending waste to the Fargo landfill, and then temporarily to the incinerator in Perm. So by 1990, the old landfill, part of it had been cleaned up and placed on. We went through and we created one big pile of waste out there and capped it. And by 1993, we were sending all our waste to the Fargo landfill. At that point, too, we got permitted for a new demolition landfill. The building demolition materials were being banned from the waste stream, so you couldn't ship them to Fargo or other places. And so we got a new demolition landfill approved, and then turned over the old landfill to the state.
Okay. And we're going to continue this in the next show. Thanks, Steve. We'll talk about what's after we just talked about. We'll chat. Thank you so much.